Let's go through the PCP spreadsheet again. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the channel, folks. JD here again. After a video I did a couple of days ago, a couple of people commented about me going through the PCP spreadsheet that I've used in a little bit more detail. Now, I have done this in the past, but it's been a few months ago. So every now and again, I like to just go through the spreadsheet. You can get a copy of this spreadsheet, by the way, if you're new to the channel. It's a one-off donation of £10, including as many updates as I care to make. One of the comments also mentioned Auto Trader and using the Auto Trader PCP quotes, and that they didn't really know how to take those quotes and put them into the spreadsheet. So that's what we'll do today. Now, what I'm going to do is use the use the spreadsheet to demonstrate that you can use it for both PCPs and HPs. So what I've done, I've just gone onto Auto Trader and picked a complete car at random. Volkswagen Golf 2020 20 reg 1.6 TDI. It's got a purchase price of 14,450, and if we scroll down here, we can go to personalize your finance quote and we can choose an HP or a PCP quote. Now, I don't know, because I've never done this before, I don't know whether this is a thing that Auto Trader does or whether this is actually coming from the dealer. Either way, though, we can use the figures to make sure the spreadsheet works, and we can do a bit of number crunching. So basically, on the spreadsheet, a few things that you need to know. You need to know the purchase price, and remember, that's always the thing which I say is the most important, and then obviously the APR and that kind of thing. We need to know the purchase price, we need to know any deposit we're going to put in, we need to know the guaranteed future value if it's a PCP or a balloon HP, we need to know what the APR is, and we need to know how many months that we want to take the deal out over. So let's take the PCP example here. So they're saying on a 48-month, 10,000 mile per year arrangement on a PCP, it'd be 253.54. That's a purchase price of 14,450 and a deposit of 1,000. So we're financing 13,450. This is good though, look, because if anyone caught my video the other day about PCPs, they're saying, look, balance to finance 13,450, which is correct. Okay, the balance to finance is not 13,450 minus 584475 guaranteed future value. Remember, you are financing the entire amount, whether you pay that balloon payment at the end or not. So let's just check our spreadsheet is giving us a pretty close monthly calculation. So we're going to put in 14,450. We're going to put in deposit. They're saying £1,000. We can obviously change that. There's no dealer deposit contribution on this. Guaranteed future value is 584475. So we put that in the GFV box. I tell you what I'll do. Let me just zoom in a little bit more so you can see this. Let's just get it a bit closer. There we go. So option to purchase fee is usually about a tenner these days. So I tend to not worry about that because it's here nor there really. We'll assume we're taking it out this month, so that's August 2021. That's only really useful if you want to look at, you know, let's say we are in the future, let's say we're in January 2023. What's our settlement going to be? We can easily look at the table. That's all that starting month does. You can put anything you like in that, but it just makes sure that your amortization table here corresponds to the starting month of the agreement. Quoted APR, they've got, wow, 11.9, pretty high. And they're saying it's a 48-month agreement. Now, it's not, look, this is a good example. I've talked about this in the past. Look, term 48 months. There are 47 equal payments. Hang on a minute. No, yes. Okay, see, even this has got me confused here. First payment, 253.54, 47 monthly payments of 253.54. So there's actually 48 monthly payments, and an optional final payment of 584475. So the term, look, is 48 months, but the contract length is 49 months. So this is, even though we've chosen 48 months there, it's technically 49 months, because the guaranteed future value lies in month 49, not in month 48. So that's important, because in the spreadsheet, in the months column, we enter the equal number of months, the equal payment month, not the contract length. So it's 48 equal payments, with month 49 being the balloon. 3 months, ignore that. That was something that I did when, I haven't seen it for a while, but during COVID, when they were trying to sell cars, a lot of manufacturers were giving you 3 months, which basically meant a deferred payment. So you didn't pay anything for the first 2 months or the first 3 months or whatever. However, in most cases I looked at, you still paid interest. So they weren't free. You were paying interest on, say, 49 months, but only paying it over 46 months. You see what I mean? So anyway, coming out at, not bad, look, 253.73 on the spreadsheet. They're saying 253.54. So that's good. The spreadsheet's working. Okay, so this tells us on the spreadsheet here, look, the total charge over the term, unless you're making an overpayment, is 4573.66. They've got 4564.67. So it's a tiny bit of rounding, but it's £9 over 4 years. Okay. Regular monthly payment is 253.73. If you go over here, you can look at the VT point. So the VT point, as long as it's a regulated finance agreement, HP or PCP, when you have paid 50% of the total amount borrowed, including charges, including your deposit paid, you can technically hand the car back. Now, I've never done it myself. I know people who have. It's a bit of a grey area in terms of whether it affects your credit score. There is a mark left on your credit score, but it shouldn't, I'm told, really affect your ability to get finance. However, it's technically saying you've defaulted on an agreement. So some lenders might look at that and go, hang on a minute, he couldn't pay all of his previous car agreement. We might give him a higher rate than we would normally, or we might not offer him finance at all. So voluntary termination really is there if you come into financial hardship and you need to get out of the deal. This is telling me then that 50% of the total amount borrowed, including deposit, including charges, is 951183. So we could get out of this technically in January 2024 if we took the agreement out today. That's 29 payments. Don't fall into the trap where people think it's 50% of the term. On an HP, it usually pretty much is, because obviously you're paying from all the amount borrowed, see what I mean, down to nothing. So the midway point is around halfway through the term. With a PCP, because you've got that big balloon payment at the end, you're not going to have paid half the amount down until much further into the agreement. In this case, it's month 29 out of 48. That's pretty good, but that's probably because the interest rate's quite high. Often it could be on a 48-month agreement, it might be month 40, it might be month 35. So don't always think, well, I've taken this over 4 years, PCP, I can give it back after 24. That's not going to be the case. But that's what the spreadsheet tells me there, look. So I know if I took this out and I kept my payments up, I could technically voluntarily terminate in January 2024. So that's quite useful. What I'll do is just to show you how that point moves. If we put a different deposit in, look, say we put £5,000 deposit in, you can now VT look at month 10 because you put a massive deposit in already. And because it's quite a low value car in the broad scheme of things, we've actually put in a massive deposit. So we're only financing 9,450 and we've got a guaranteed future value at 584,475. So really, we need to only pay back half of about 9.5 plus the charges, so about 13 grand. Now that's about 6.5 grand. But because we've already paid £5,000 already, we're going to reach that VT point very soon. Okay, so you can see how it changes. If I put no deposit in, the VT point would now become month 31. Okay. If you do it on an HP though, let's take their HP example. So they're saying it's 349.59. It's still 46, 40. Yeah, so this one is 48. So what we need to do here, look, is just to change this effectively from PCP to HP, is just change that to, keep that at 48, because it's 48 equal payments still, remember. We're going to get rid of the guaranteed future value, and you could just put 0. So that's all you need to do to compare an HP with a PCP. And that's telling me 375.55. They've got 349.59. Ah, hang on a minute, but it's got a £1,000 deposit. Let's put our £1,000 deposit back in. 349.56. God, we're 3p out. So the spreadsheet's bang on there. And look where the VT point is, month 20. Okay, because we've put that deposit in, we're going to have paid half much earlier because we haven't got the big balloon payment at the other end. If I take the deposit out, it's month 22. Okay. Now the reason it's earlier than halfway is because the interest rate is quite high. So the way interest rates work on a regulated agreement is that the interest kind of is front loaded, so the more you pay off, the less interest you're paying, and you can see that on the amortization table. So you can see in month 1, look, our interest is £136. By the time we get to month 24, it's only £78. So more of the capital is coming down. So technically we're paying off more of the charges to begin with, if you see what I mean. So that's why the VT point is slightly earlier than halfway through. So that's basically what the spreadsheet does. It's got 2 tabs, so you can compare 2 different deals. So if you're looking at 2 different dealers and you want to work out which is the best, you can put 2 things in here, and then there's a summary tab here, and it will tell us the differences. So actually, why don't we use the HP agreement here, and we'll use the second tab for the PCP example. So if we go, let me just zoom in on this a little bit. So we'll put the same things in again. So total cost is 14,450. Deposit is 1,000 on their example. Guaranteed future value, the PCP side this is 5,844.75. Starting month we'll say again is August 2021. Quoted APR is 11.9, and the month was 48. There you go. So 253.73. So if I now go to the summary comparison tab, look, and again let me just zoom in on this so you can see what we're doing. So this tells me, look, that it's obviously 375 a month on the HP example, 253 a month on the PCP example. So it tells me there, look, £121 a month better off, obviously on an HP versus a PCP. The total difference in monthly cost over the whole term, £5,847.54. But remember, yes, you're saving £5,847.54, but remember at the end of the HP you own the car, so you've got the entire equity in that car left. On the PCP you don't own the car. Okay, and it tells you all other things, difference in charges. It says, what's this saying? I'm trying to remind myself what this bit does myself. We need to put a deposit in there. There we go. So I've got a £1,000 deposit on both now. Yeah, okay. So what you can do here, look, is you can say, what would it cost me to settle on both of these agreements at, say, month 25? So let's put 25 in there, look. So basically what this is now telling me, look, is 25 months into both agreements, it would cost us £7,039.32 roughly to settle the HP agreement, and on the PCP it would cost us £9,900. So this is then saying, okay, what's the difference in monthly payments? So after 25 payments, we would have paid £2,395 less on the PCP compared to the HP. Okay, so the difference between the 2 settlements is £2,861.40. So basically, when you take the difference in monthly payments from the settlement, it comes out at £465.55. So you can basically work out, and this is quite a good example really, between an HP and a PCP. You've paid a lot less money to get there, but obviously you owe a lot more on a PCP. So you owe $7,039 on the PCP, sorry, on the HP, and you owe $9,900 on the PCP. So it's cost us £2,395 less to get there, but it's going to cost us £2,861 more to settle the PCP. See what I mean? So we're £465 better off overall. Okay, so yes, the PCP is a lot less each month, but because you owe a lot more, this will let you work out which one's better. Okay, so various things the spreadsheet will do. If we go to the amortization table, it gives us our breakdown of how much we're contributing towards interest and how much we're contributing towards capital each time. So you can see, to begin with, on an HP, which is this one because there's no balloon payment, we're paying £126 roughly in interest, and we're paying the capital down by 220. By the end, look, by say into year 3, same monthly payment, but we're now only paying £40 in interest and £309 in the capital. So as you get more and more to the end of an HP agreement or a PCP agreement, in a way, you're paying more off the capital and less in interest charges. If we look at the PCP, because we've got that balloon payment that, remember, we're always paying interest on, we won't pay as much capital down, as you can see. Even in month 36, we're only paying £176 down, and we're paying more interest. Look, so our proportion of interest to capital is higher with a PCP, and the reason for that is because even in the very last month, look, month 48, you're still paying £57 interest, and that's because you're paying interest on the balloon payment. If you look at the HP example, right to the end, look, you're only paying £3 in the last month because you've paid all the capital down versus never paying the £5,844.75 down. Does that make sense? Other things you can do, you can, if I remind myself, you can overpay. So any point in this amortization table, I could say, well, what would happen, let's say in month 12, if I put, is that month 12? Yeah, if I put £2,000 overpayment on. You can see straight away the interest drops from that point. So it was 107, 104, 102. We put that £2,000 on. So now we're only paying £80 in interest, £78 in interest. So you can see you've saved interest then. If you go over to here, look, we will have saved about 670 odd pounds in interest charges by putting an overpayment of £2,000 a year into the agreement. So it will also show you that as well. In terms of the cap value column, what that does is that enables you to get a valuation. Now you can get a cap valuation from places like HPIvaluations.com, Cap Connect, I think it might be called, but there's usually a charge for that. Or you could use somewhere like We Buy Any Car, Motorway, that kind of thing. So let's say we're thinking of selling the car. Let's take the overpayment off for now. Let's say at month 24, we get a valuation and we put it in there. So let's say the car's worth £8,500. This tells me, look, that we are £1,000. It's negative because we're basically getting more than we owe. So we'd be £1,000 up in equity at that point if we got £8,500 for that car 2 years into the agreement. So it enables you to see if there's a good time getting out of the car. Obviously, that's only as good as the cap value that you can get. So, you know, shop around, look at different websites. If you're doing on the PCP out of interest, let's use the same example, £8,500 after month 24. You will find that we'll be in negative equity because it's a PCP, so you haven't paid as much capital down. So you see, if you got £8,500 2 years in this particular circumstance on a PCP, you'd have to find £1,500 to pay towards the finance to settle it. Okay. I think that's it. That's pretty much all the spreadsheet does. I hope that was reasonably useful. You have to excuse me, I'm a bit tired today. I've been tiling one of our bathrooms all day, so I'm not concentrating as much as I normally do. But I hope that was reasonably useful for anybody thinking of using the spreadsheet and wanting to buy the spreadsheet. As I say, you can fling me an email here to get yourself a copy. You can buy me a coffee here. 2 people have bought me a coffee now, folks. This is amazing. You know, it's really nice, really humbled by that. Never thought anybody would, but it's there if you want to use it. Obviously, please do subscribe if you haven't yet done so. We're nearly at 5,000. As of making this video, I'm at 4,993, so really close to the magic 5,000, which I'd really like to get to. Give the videos a thumbs up if you found it useful, and I will see you when I can find the button next time. Thanks for watching. Take care.